Hi everyone, this is Peggy K, and today I'm trying a little experiment. I'm going to talk about the updates for creators across Google products in the month of January. I know a lot of you out there are YouTubers or bloggers or plussers, and it's hard to keep up with all the changes that are happening, the new features, the features that are gone. So I'm just going to give a really brief overview of that, and this is an experiment. If it works, maybe I'll be back next month. So first of all, to start out with, the big update in January was that Classic Google Plus was retired forever. Let's take a look. So this will take me just a second. All right. So this is just a look at what Classic Google Plus looked like up until the beginning of this week. I had a profile with lots of tabs. You can see my posts, my collections, my photos, and that was the way Google Plus has been essentially for years now. But with the retirement of Classic Google Plus, something a little different. First of all, the YouTube tab, which used to show the most recent uploads on the YouTube channel associated with the same Google account as your Google Plus, that's gone now. What we have is a new, simplified Google Plus profile. It's focused on my interests and activity on Google Plus itself. So you can see that my profile shows to me, this is what I see when I view it, my most active collections with posts to Google Plus. My most active collection is for bookmarking, so nobody can see that but me. And then if you view all, you could see all my communities as well. So really the focus now is activity on Google Plus, not photo albums, which are in Google Photos, not YouTube videos, which are on YouTube. And the links to my blog and my other social media profiles are behind the new About button on the profile. So that's what it looks like now. But it's not all different. One thing that was retained from the Classic Google Plus is events. And I just wanted to mention that it was really, I think, user feedback that encouraged Google Plus to retain events. So right now, Google Plus events are still there. They were not retired with the rest of Classic, but they are still the old Google Plus Classic interface. So they haven't gotten a nice remake. And I'm hoping that eventually they are redone, but that hasn't happened yet. But in the meantime, you can still use Google Plus events. For those of you who run Hangouts on Air, there are not Hangout on Air events. Those were not restored. Hangouts on Air has moved completely to YouTube. But what you can do is create a new Google Plus event and then share the link to your Hangout on Air. So that's still a possibility, and you should check out my blog post that shows you how to do that. Okay, so that was the big change. But it wasn't just that Classic Google Plus was retired. Google Plus also rolled out some new features, which is always nice. So let's take a quick look at that. This will take me 1 second. And apologies for the delay. My laptop seems to be running very slowly today. Okay, so the first thing that Google Plus introduced, or not the first thing, but what I think is the best thing, is new statistics for everyone. It used to be that only Google Plus pages had any statistics. Those were actually called insights, and they were part of Google My Business. As part of the changes this month, Google My Business no longer includes any Google Plus information. And Google Plus brand pages are no longer managed in Google My Business. It means pages no longer have access to those Google My Business insights. But that's okay, because Google Plus has introduced your influence stats. And now these are for both pages and personal profiles. When you go to your own profile, you can click the 3-dot menu icon, select your influence, and then you'll see the stats. You can see some of my stats here, where you can see how your profile followers and collection followers have changed. You can see how many posts you've done, how many views your posts have gotten, and how many comments and plus ones. Right now, these stats are really pretty basic. There's no way to graph them over time. There's no way to see individual post stats, but it's really a good start, I think. And I'm hoping in the future that we get more details. The other improvements that we're seeing, low quality comments are now hidden. You can still see those comments by clicking the 3-dot menu icon for a post and selecting See All Comments. You can also zoom and pan images on desktop. That's something that was missing in the new Google Plus interface. And I don't have a screenshot for it, but the screen layout has been improved on desktop, so it's more responsive. So these are all really nice changes. It's not, and I wanted to point everybody to this statement in the Google blog post announcing the retirement of Classic Google Plus, where they say, their aim is to make Google Plus the best place to connect around the things you care about. So please use the send feedback link in the apps and on the web to keep the feedback coming. We're listening. So if you see something that's missing on the new Google Plus, you don't like the way a feature works, you have a suggestion, send feedback directly. The feedback should be as specific as you can make it, because feedback that just says, I hate it, isn't something that Google Plus can really do anything with. So those were the big updates to Google Plus this month. I think this is a really great thing. So Google Plus can focus on just one interface, and hopefully we're going to see some more improvements over the course of the next month, year. One thing I did want to mention, though, is that if you're a YouTuber who uses Google Plus, there is no longer a YouTube tab that automatically displays your videos. So if you want people on Google Plus to see your videos, you're going to have to share them there directly. And I recommend sharing your videos to Google Plus manually. That way you can write up some description tests and you can share it into a collection, because collections are really the way to get your posts seen on Google Plus. There's some great tutorial videos out there and discussions, and I'll link to those in the description of this video. So if you're interested, take a look there. Okay, so what's happening on YouTube this past month? Nothing as huge as what's happening on Google+, but we did see some changes. The first thing I wanted to point people to is Susan W.'s "Thanks for an Incredible Year, Looking Back at 2016" post. This is on the YouTube Creators blog. And it's a really good overview of all the different updates YouTube has done over the past year. And so check it out if you want to sort of view that. But one of the things that was mentioned in the post is that over 1,000 creators earned a gold play button last year by reaching 1 million subscribers. Really pretty cool, because these are creators from all over the world and they have a huge audience. So that's something to strive for in 2016. I haven't even hit 1,000 subscribers yet myself, so I have much smaller goals, but I thought that was pretty neat. But the big thing that lots of people are talking about this month is the new notification bell. Now the notification bell on YouTube is separate from the old Google Plus notification bell, which means that there aren't any Google Plus notifications there. Instead, all you see are your notifications of YouTube video uploads from people that you subscribe to. And you also see live stream notifications there as well. There's been a lot of feedback in the YouTube help forum, on Twitter, and Reddit, people saying that they don't like the new notifications, or they think that some things are limited, especially, for example, the fact you cannot respond to comments directly in the notification pane. Instead, you have to click. That opens the video watch page and you have to respond there. So I just wanted to mention that if you're one of those people who perhaps has some feedback for notifications, don't just post it anywhere. Send feedback to YouTube directly. Explain clearly what it is that you would like to see different. Like Google+, YouTube wants to hear your feedback, and they're listening. Doesn't guarantee that specific changes will be made, but if you don't tell them what changes you want to see, they're never going to know. So if you have thoughts about the new notification bell, send feedback. The other big thing that was announced was Superchat. So fan funding, the way that your fans could donate money to you, is going to be completely retired on February 28th. And according to the blog post that was talking about this, it really never had that much use outside of the live streaming community. So instead of fan funding, there's a new thing called Superchat. And what it is that it allows people who are watching your live stream to pay a little money to have their live stream chat comment highlighted. You can see that. This is the image from the blog post announcing it. And that's really kind of a cool idea, and it will be interesting to see where that goes. If you are not a live streamer, or you don't really like the idea of the Super Chat, you can use third-party sites like Patreon to ask for funding to support your creative activity and let your fans help support you. And you can add cards to your videos asking for people to donate. as long as it's with one of the approved crowdfunding sites. And that does include Patreon and Kickstarter and Indiegogo and lots of other sites. So if you are a live streamer, keep an eye out for the new Superchat option, which should be broadly launched by January 31st in 20 countries. And even if you're not a live streamer, you might look into Patreon and other similar sites for getting support from your fans. The other neat update this month from YouTube was that the mobile Creator Studio app got the option to add a custom thumbnail. And I know some of you are thinking, what's the big deal here? Well, it has been the option when you have a video on your phone, can upload it to YouTube. You can do some basic editing. You can add a filter. You can add music. You can trim the ends. You add the title and the description and the tags, and you can do all these things. But the one thing you couldn't do was add a custom thumbnail on your mobile device. You would have to actually sign in on a desktop computer to add a custom thumbnail. So now, as long as custom thumbnails are enabled on your account, you can do it right in the Creator Studio app. So if you record videos on your mobile device, you should definitely check that out. The Creator Studio app is also great because it will show you real-time analytics and monetization data and all kinds of other information that the main YouTube app doesn't show. And it's designed just for creators. All right. So those are my big updates for the month of January for Google Plus and YouTube. And I mentioned at the beginning that I also want to make this about updates for bloggers as well. There weren't any major blogger updates in January. Blogger just keeps plugging along. But I did want to mention that I did a free webinar with Michael Daniels about Blogger, and I did a couple of tutorial videos about adding emoji and other symbols to your blog post. And also I did a brief tutorial video of how to insert images into a blog post that you originally uploaded to Google+. So there you have an example of how using a Google account with all these services on it lets these Blogger and YouTube and Google+ and all these things talk to each other, basically. So you can share an image on Google+, and then you can write a blog post and just with a few clicks, insert that image that you've shared to Google+, without having to do another upload at all. So I think that's a pretty neat feature. All right. So that's basically it for this month. And the word to the wise is send feedback. Google is listening. Thanks for joining me.